Okay, management. Our watchwords should be awareness, recognition, action. Be proactive. Prevention is better than cure. Set standards early and talk to the players. Make it easy on yourself. Get them 5 metres at free hits from the beginning. And that's really, really important in hockey. If you don't set that standard early with the 5 metres, you make it very hard for yourself. And you've got to really work hard on it early, because they're all keen to get in, and with the self-pass rule, it does make it a little bit more difficult, but that's where we need to talk to the players and say, no, you're out, and we need to work with them on that. Where if we don't say anything and we just let it roll on, we actually make a little hole for ourselves and make it harder. And once you don't deal with that early, it's very hard to get out of that, because as soon as you try to, straight away, if you're not doing it equal for both teams, oh, you didn't do it for them, you didn't do it for them, why are you picking on us? And realistically, they could be right. But we haven't like deliberately meant to do that. It's just we haven't set the standards from an early stage. Ensure free hits are taken correctly. Communicate with your fellow umpire. The other thing too is, what I see a fair bit is our captains are in charge of the whole team. Right, the whole team. That includes the bench. And I don't think we use that captain enough. And I'll use a perfect example is, say for instance, you're misbehaving early, you're quite chirpy, having a bit to say. You and I have already had words, and you're not listening. So what I will do then is I won't even bother talking to you anymore. So the next time you have a bit of a chirp, I'll just time out. You, Eric, captain, over here. Okay, number 7, I've already spoke to him several times now. That's it. The line's in the sand. You don't deal with him now. You are going to be one short very surely. Your choice. Then, when he gives me a gobful in the next 10 seconds, I just go, you're out. The captain can't say a word to me. Right? I've said to him, look, here's your opportunity. I haven't had to have the argument again with the player that's not real happy. So I've gone to the extreme, but I've dealt with it. Like I personally wouldn't do that anyway, because you wouldn't even get 2 goes. You'd be maybe even 1, you know. But you know where I'm coming from, and that's where you earn the respect from the players as well. Sometimes, and what we've got to recognise, is it abuse, right, or is it frustration? We are always going to be the blame for frustration, but it's when they overstep the mark we need to be aware of where that mark is. As soon as it becomes more than frustration, then it needs to be dealt with.
So you allow players to vent their frustration and just let it go?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll get them back though. Yeah. No, but the thing is, they're trying to do their best, right? They're out here, they're playing a sport as well, right? Depends how far they go. But if I can tell whether they're frustrated, right? If it goes on and on, it's no longer frustration, right? It becomes verbal abuse.
It's an education thing we've been trying to do here with our umpires around what is umpire abuse and what is frustration.
Yep.
And it really is an education, and it can be hard sometimes, especially for the umpires coming up.
Very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And I think because we've built a rod for our own back over the years, we haven't dealt with it sternly enough. But the thing is, I'll go back to the captains. If it's going on a little bit, right, give the captain the opportunity. Right, stop the game and say, listen, you know, 4 guys now haven't stopped. Can you please look after it? Because if you don't look after it, I will. Right? So be warned that you now have to deal with this, please. Right? And if you bring them down to that level, rather than, look, I've had enough of this, right? You've got to come down. You've got to bring it down. So they're going, oh, okay. And then you have that conversation, open hands, and you say, listen, enough's enough. I'm sorry, but 7, 11, 13. Right? I've spoke to them 3 times now. Enough's enough. can you please deal with it? Because if you don't, I have to take it further, because that is not acceptable. That behaviour is not acceptable, and I won't put up with it anymore. So please deal with it. And then when you do something about it, he can't come running to you and say, oh, you're joking, you didn't say anything. He's got no comeback. And and you earn the respect from him that way as well. Have a seat, mate. So we're okay with that. Is there any questions before we keep going on that you want to ask early, or because this could take a while? I don't really want to go through the whole lot, because you'll get bored listening to me, or like I could ramble on about lots of stuff. Don't worry about that. Yes.
Where do you draw the line between carding the players themselves or just going straight to the captain and saying the captain's not controlling their team, the captain can go overseas?
If it's an individual and he's overstepped the mark straight away, where I don't think it's frustration, I think it's verbal abuse, and that's not acceptable behaviour, I just go straight for him. And I'm not concerned, and this is me, right? So just be careful there. I don't care if it's 10 seconds into the game. If that behaviour is not acceptable, I'll deal with it. You mightn't have to card them, right? You can reverse a free hit, or a nice loud whistle, and you just eyeball them. Hey, and I point, and they go, well, okay, he's not happy. And it's how you set the standards, and it's working on the relationship. So, and it's not easy to build. You've got to work on it. It's really, really hard. It takes time. But once you work on that, it's all about what the package that you're delivering. Your decision making, consistency, your behaviour as well, your attitude as well. Because if you're arrogant and unapproachable, the teams and you are going to be at loggerhead all the time. If you're unapproachable as an official, you're going to have a problem. And we need to look and if we feel that way, or if someone says something to you, oh, you're unapproachable, you're arrogant, maybe you need to go back and think about, is it really me? Am I? And maybe ask someone else. You mightn't think that the way you speak comes across as arrogant, or you're up at this level, because we're all individuals. And I know myself, sometimes you'll say stuff and people go, oh, geez, he's got the shit to him. No, I haven't. But it's a perception that we give off. Our body language and our volume of our voice is another one that we, when we get a bit loud, people think, ooh, he's not happy. But sometimes it might be because you don't think they can hear, or they're not listening, so you talk louder, even though you mightn't mean to. It's not always that easy.
Sorry, Dave, can I just go to something you said there?
Yep.
You talked about reversing a decision.
Yep.
One of the things we've been working on in the women's, and I've been working with Jan Hadfield and Elaine Dunk around personal penalty versus a team penalty.
Yep.
So I've been taught as an umpire manager and umpire coach that we shouldn't be reversing decisions because it is a team penalty for an individual infringement.
Yep.
So we've been told to give personal penalties, so i.e. a card,
yep.
and not penalise the whole team by reversing a decision.
Yep.
Is that what we should be doing, or?
I think that
I know
if at our top levels, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Because the thing is, if you reverse a decision, especially with the self-pass rule, you take a lot of heat off yourself as an umpire, because the team's now running the other way, and they're running away from you because you've just made that decision.
Yep.
So we've got to be.
Do it at your level? Would you reverse a decision?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
And the umpire manager would be fine with that?
Yeah, I'd get away with it.
Because it's you?
Yeah. Yeah, but depends what's happening too. Okay. Excuse me.
So you think there is a place for reversing?
Oh, there's a place for everything. Depends how they're behaving as well. Like if he's carrying on a bit and we're talking 0-0, we've only got 10 minutes to go. You don't really want to be ditching someone at that stage. But if he doesn't want to carry on, free hit, you give him a free hit. So it's, oh bullshit, it's a penalty corner, you're rubbish. Free it the other way, let's go. They'll play the ball out. They're not going to stand there and argue because the game's already outside the 23 now, and I'm not even going to talk to them anyway. I'm running with them.
Yep.
And then his teammates, mate, just shut up. And that's an example. But there's still a time and place for it.
Yeah.
I know people don't like to use it.
Beneficial in the lower sort of grades, whereas in higher grades and at nationals, for me, I tell my umpires not to do it. I'd prefer them to deal with it another way.
And that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
And we've just got to, like, when we get to different standards, there's a balance. Yeah. And that's why it's hard, like, to deliver a package for everyone. And this is why, even when FIH make rule changes, is it good for our whole game? Not all the time. It's the best decision for our whole game, as in all levels. You know, and that's why you see different, excuse me, different states, different associations adding on to, having little bylaws and stuff like that because they don't agree with it. Like, some associations don't play the green card.
Yeah.
Some people aren't playing the stick above the shoulder. And, for that reason, it's always hard, especially, like, even in our association this year, I was running an umpires briefing and only first grader playing the stick over the head. I said, excuse me? They went, well, that's all we want to do. I said, so what about all the veterans, all the kids that are going to 18s, they're not allowed to do it, then they're going to go to a state championship and they're not going to do it because they've been training that they're not allowed to. They're going to be disadvantaged. Like, and even in our lower, we don't want to play it in 4th or 5th grade. I said, all right, how many overheads do you think you're going to see in 4th and 5th grade? Oh, that's a good point. I said, exactly. So why worry about it? But they're going to go to a state championship and they're allowed to play it. So, right? So you obviously aren't playing it.
We do 1s, 2s and 18s.
Yeah, that's fine. But do yourself a favour in your lower grades, just do a count of how many overheads you see in a couple of weeks.
Fair enough.
No, like, seriously, how many overheads do you see? You might see a couple and then you think, wouldn't really matter in this grade anyway.
It depends. So I've got the misfortune of playing around about 4th, 5th grade.
Me too.
Yeah, and watching certain teams have individuals who will throw 50-metre overheads because they're too lazy to actually move the ball around any other way. So you might be right. The problem is here when you get that one grade with 1 or 2 teams. It then does change it because whilst you might be right on average, averages don't necessarily work.
No, but it's a skill, so why should they be penalised if they've got that skill playing in that grade?
It's not them throwing the overhead.
Yeah.
It's the idiots.
Because I'm playing 5th grade this year and I can throw them too, so it's great. But, sometimes, that's what I said, FIH make rules, there's rule changes and we just go, is that really good for our whole game, Okay, have I read any of this yet? Got a bit distracted there. Encourage the flow of the game to flow by only interfering when necessary. However, do not lose your grip on the match as a result of allowing too much flow. We'll understand that, allowing too much to happen. Because sometimes what you'll see is you'll try, especially early, when we're trying to take a bit of a risk because it's the start of the game, and then 1 stick check, 2 stick checks, 3 stick checks, then the 4th one comes along, oh geez, that was really bad, time out, green card. The other 3 people go, are you serious? Like, come on, why has he got it off and we got away with it? So we become inconsistent, but we've just got to be careful there. That's why we've got to set the standards. It's not that easy. Allow the players to contest the ball, allow as much advantage as possible, read the game, do not ball watch. Everyone happy with that?
No.
No?
So are you saying observe the players around the ball who aren't necessarily carrying it? Is that?
Yeah. You need to be aware of, because me personally, I always, when I was umpiring, I still am a bit now, but always being aware of where people are. So you've got to know what's going on. If you just watch the ball, and watch the ball when it's coming, what happens to the guy that's up the front that's gone from there, he's gone 15 metres further down the field, right? Now, you can't get there. But if you were aware of what's happening, you'd already be that 15 metres further because you know you can get there. And that's about being aware of what's going on around you. I see a lot of people, they stand there and they'll watch the ball, but the forwards have already moved. There's no one, even at Olympic level, that can run faster than that ball travels. So you can't get there. So we need to be aware where these people are. So you need to sort of watch what's happening. Same as in the circle, is especially at the top level, not so much at the lower level, it's pretty hard because you're not mic'd up. But we used to have a terminology where if I was the umpire in the circle, I was engaged, I got the front, trail umpire, he had the back. So we were watching two different things. I watched the play where the ball was. All he watched was all the people pulling, dragging people, hanging onto shirts, hanging onto sticks. So we covered two areas. Before, we used to ball watch. Because it was a key area, the trailing umpire, he only watched the ball. The lead umpire, he was watching the ball. And guys off the ball, on each other, smashing each other. And it was happening for a lot of time. Like, we used to get a lot of videos, presented to us. Are you aware these guys are doing this? So we changed the way we did things. We thought about it and said, well, how can we handle this better? And it was about the guy in the circle, got the front, the trailing umpire, covered the back. You still need to be like a little bit aware too, in case they're after help. It's not an easy task. But we're just watching different things. Enjoy.
Thank you. I have to.
Do you want us to come and watch?
Feel free. I'm happy to take critique.
Okay, sometimes a free hit is a better advantage and causes less frustration. Whistle timing is critical.